Yeah, we're going to try it again, Laker fans. We're going to try it again. If it's awful again, then we'll have to abort mission. But we're going to do our best here. So appreciate you guys tuning in. As you can tell, we're trying this round number 2 here. We don't just give up. You know, some people would have just went home. I was close to going home, by the way. I was close to saying, okay, just let's call it a day. Let's see if this is better. We'll find out as the show goes on. I hope it is. I really do. Okay. So this is where I was leaving off. By the way, when we started the show, I had already kind of hit on the first couple of topics. So I mentioned that the Lakers have survived the toughest stretch of the season so far. I really truly believe that. I feel like the worst part of the Lakers schedule is behind them. And what I'm referring to there, not just the matchups, not just playing 9 games in a row versus teams all in playoff position, but also we're 7 games through that, by the way. But you're 5-5 in April. This is without LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and you feel like AD is coming back. Obviously, that's a positive sign for the Lakers. So I think we've kind of turned the page on that. As far as Anthony Davis expectations, so AD's expectations when he does return, just freaking be AD. Be one of the best players in the NBA. Hopefully his confidence just grows over the course of, this last month or so, that he feels good, that he feels healthy, that the injury is behind him, that it's not something that he thinks about on a possession-by-possession basis. And that's obviously going to be the hope. And also, just keep this in mind. When Anthony Davis went out with that injury, the team has changed since then. He's got some front court help now with Andre Drummond. Yes, Ben McLemore is there as well, but this Lakers team, looks a little bit different. He's not playing alongside Marc Gasol anymore. He's going to be playing alongside, obviously, Andre Drummond. This Lakers, the bench and the role player, you got a number of different players that have got a lot of, let's just say they got a lot of extra work over these last couple of months as Anthony Davis has been out because by necessity, not by luxury. It's just this is the position that the Lakers have been in. So that's where we left off before the stream decided that it did not want to be a part of the show tonight. So let's see if the stream is doing better. I'm going to go look at some of the chats here. Let's see people asking, where did you go? Got a couple people saying the Wi-Fi is pretty good. We might be okay here, Laker fans. We might be okay here. There it is. There we go. I got when you get a compliment on social media, it's arguably the greatest accomplishment that you can have because they don't come all the time here. And when we're talking Wi-Fi, we're using AOL right now. I think we're using AOL. All right, let's do some roll call. Lake fans, where are you guys tuning in from? Appreciate you guys being a part of the show, by the way. Before I get into our next topic, where are you guys tuning in? I like this answer. I like this question by Ricardo. Ricardo, I'm going to get into that in just a second. Who do you like closing in playoff time? We'll get into that in just a second. All right, let me read off a couple of these. Read off a couple of these roll calls here. Here's what we got: Vegas, Rochester, New York in the house. Maryland, LA, Goose Creek, South Carolina, Lawndale, Little Italy, Texas, Adelanto, California in the house. Thank you for tuning in. San Francisco, appreciate you being a part of the show. Little Italy, Texas, that makes no sense at all. No sense at all. I got somebody else refusing roll call because of the Lakers loss. Is this going to be a new thing here? Lakers take a loss, people refuse roll call? I'm down for it. Whatever makes you feel good, I'm okay with it. Virginia in the house, Albuquerque, Napa, California, 3rd and Fairfax, Goose Creek, South Carolina. I think I already named that one off. New Orleans in the house. Appreciate you tuning in. Trinidad and Tobago. How awesome is that? They even helped me pronounce it because I think I was pronouncing it wrong. Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you for being a part of the show. Virginia, Philippines. Okay. By the way, before we get into our next topic, Laker fans, I know you guys tune into me because I'm all about the entertainment, hot stories that are all over entertainment Lakers news. I know that's why you guys tune into me for that. I might be, some people say I could be the catfish expert. Some people say, hey, Al, you are a professional when it comes to knowing and understanding the entertainment industry. I know you guys always come to me for that. I have no idea what's going on in this story. I have no idea. I've read it. People have, I've gone through, people have broke it all down. This is what's going on. I don't know what the hell's going on here. I'm supposed to talk about catfishing? What the hell? What's going on here, Laker fans? What is going on here? Hawaii in the house. Thank you for tuning in. Louisiana in the house. Venezuela, appreciate you tuning in. Catfishing? What are we, 9 years old? What's going on here? Literally have no idea what's going on. I'm trying to research today, get all my Laker topics together, get everything all together. And every other story was about this thing that's going on, about somebody catfishing. Did I even say it right? Is it even called catfishing? Santa Rosa, California. Appreciate you being a part of the show. I mean, I'm sitting here. We got playoffs coming up in 30 days. We talk about catfishing. Am I going on a fishing trip? What the hell's going on here? All right, appreciate you guys tuning in. Honestly, I'm no joke. I was talking to Greg Bergman. So Greg is, at the station, produces the show before Lakers Talk. Sedano, LZ, and Cap. And Greg's like, yeah, we took so many calls on this. I'm like, what? I don't know what the hell's going on. Okay, let's get into the next topic here. Yeah, there's my catfishing. There's my catfishing expertise there. I got somebody here. You're late and early to the King Taco stand at Little Italy, San Diego. James Z. Look at James Z using everything that we do, everything that we put together. Okay. Anything is Lakers news, no question about that. Alex Sliwa is mad. Not mad, just confused, Alex. Very confused. Vancouver in the house. Carlsbad. How great is Carlsbad? Okay, this is what we got here, Laker fans. Hold on to your questions and your comments. Hold on to all those, okay? Hold on to all those. Somebody says Clippers are the team to beat. Hold on to all those. By the way, Clippers are not the team to beat. Are Lakers still the team to beat? Okay? We got to go back into that. Are Lakers still the team to beat? So, Carlo, go back one. Go back one here. There we go. Okay. Lakers still the team to beat. So, Laker fans, here we are now, sitting in fifth place in the Western Conference. We're going to get our people back, obviously, sooner than later. LeBron, Anthony Davis, all the rest of the crew. Are Lakers still the team to beat? So Dennis Schroeder had a quote after the Lakers played the Utah Jazz on Saturday. Basically just said that when LeBron and Anthony Davis come back, this team's going to be scary. I guess my question to you, Laker fans, is what's really changed from the beginning of the season to where we are right now? If I had to go through the threats in each conference, if I said, hey, look at the Western Conference threats, look at the Eastern Conference threats, I don't know if that much has changed. Some has changed in the Eastern Conference. Some has also changed in the West based upon injuries that have happened. But let me just kind of go through a couple teams here. All right, Lakers just played the Utah Jazz 2 games in a row. Are the Jazz a legitimate threat to the Lakers? Unfortunately, 3 games we played against the Utah Jazz in the regular season, none of these games were the Lakers healthy. So there was no position or predicament for the Lakers where you could look at the Lakers and say, okay, hey, look at the Lakers and the Jazz. What an excellent sample size. No. Donovan Mitchell didn't play on Saturday and Monday. Conley and Rudy Gobert didn't play on Saturday. LeBron, Anthony Davis didn't play in these last 2 games. And I want to say, who did we miss in that first game? I want to say AD didn't play in that first game when Lakers took on Utah. So I can't really take anything away. But this is what I will tell you. The Jazz don't have star power. They got a nice team. They move the ball around. They hit a lot of threes. All that stuff is really, really good basketball, and I enjoy watching team basketball. Donovan Mitchell is not top 15 in the NBA. They don't have the star power when it's all said and done to beat the Lakers in a 7-game set. I genuinely believe that. I'm not saying Utah can't put up a fight. I'm not saying Utah doesn't have a solid team. I'm not trying to disrespect the Utah Jazz, but Mike Trudell said this. Mike Trudell was on Lakers Talk. He said that the Jazz and the Suns have the best record in the NBA because they've been the healthiest in the Western Conference. Not that they're the best team in the NBA, but they've been the healthiest. And that's okay. That's, they're taking advantage of the fact that they have been healthy. It's not their fault that Lakers have been beat up, or maybe Clippers pick and choose when to play certain players, or Jamal Murray's out for the Denver Nuggets. That's not their problem. But in a 7-game set, if you ask me, can the Jazz win 4 against the Lakers? I don't see it. And I think the star power is the difference. And I also think there's a lack of experience there, in the sense that it's not like the Jazz have been to the Western Conference Finals and they've been knocking at the door for a couple of years. They haven't been. So I don't think Jazz can hang with the Lakers in a 7-game set. Okay, let's look at the Clippers. I had somebody else ask me here. The Clippers are a lot of people telling me that the Clippers are, how many have they won in a row now? Did they end up losing one? Did they lose one recently? Yeah, they did lose one. They won 9 of their last 10 games. So Clippers, they certainly been balling. Okay, let me just say this about the Clippers. How am I going to properly respect the Clippers until they do something in the playoffs? How? And it doesn't even have to be their history, but just this team, right? This team could not get past the second round last year against Denver. So until we actually see it, I like the addition of Rondo. I think they obviously have a bunch of talent. Kawhi's a champion. Ty Lue's a champion. Chauncey Billups a champion. Rondo's a champion. They have some champions on the team. Until they do it in the playoffs, until they get to the Western Conference Finals, how am I supposed to believe in the Clippers until you actually see them do it? The biggest difference between the Lakers and the Clippers as well, what do you do if you're the Clippers at Lakers front court? With Anthony Davis and Andre Drummond. So I think that's obviously going to be a big difference as well. Let's look at the Phoenix Suns. I'm sorry, not sold on them. A lot of inexperience on that team. Chris Paul is the absolute man. But you think the Phoenix Suns are going to beat the Lakers in a 7-game set if the Lakers are healthy? And health is going to come down to every team out there. So it might be who's the healthiest team that ends up representing the Western Conference. If the Lakers are healthy, they're going to represent the West. If they're not, they're probably not going to represent the Western Conference. I mean, I think it's as simple as that. But you could say that about the Clippers being healthy. You could say that about the Jazz being healthy. All these teams got to be healthy. So are the Lakers the team to beat? There's only one other team that I could keep in this conversation. Let's just use Brooklyn out in the East Coast. You guys saw Woj's tweet on James Harden out indefinitely for right now. Probably comes back closer to the playoffs. I don't know what Brooklyn's health is going to be, but I'll go back to this when it comes to the Brooklyn Nets. You don't have enough size against the Lakers, and you do not play defense. You cannot get a stop the way the Lakers can get a stop. Maybe I'm wrong on this. I know James Harden's a baller. I know KD is one of the greatest in the NBA. I know Kyrie can be as clutch as any player in the NBA and in the league in big-time situations. But you got to play defense. You have to have the ability to play defense. So are the Lakers still the team to beat? Yes, they're still the team to beat. And if they're not healthy, does that story change? Yes, but it changes for every team competing for a championship. You got to be healthy. All right, let's read some of these comments here. Let's see what Laker fans have here. Where the hell are you guys? Okay, somebody's saying Taco Tuesday. That literally has nothing to say, nothing to do with what I'm talking about, but I respect the food game. Washington, appreciate you tuning in. Let's see what else we got here. Rondo carrying the Clippers. Let's see what else we got here. I'm not going to sleep on the Clippers. The past is the past. They're a different team if you've been watching. Okay. They're not that different of a team like the Rondo edition. I'm with you on the Rondo edition. But a lot of those players are still on the team that was there from last year. So why would I turn the page on the Clippers and just assume that they're a different team when they have not proved yet in the playoffs. You got to prove things in the playoffs. You have to. By the way, the Clippers may prove this year in the playoffs that they are a different team, but let them prove it. I wouldn't be surprised if the Jazz and the Clippers face each other in the playoffs and the Jazz won that series. Would you be surprised? I would not be shocked. That can easily happen. I'd be surprised if the Suns beat the Clippers. I really want to see Denver and the Clippers if Jamal Murray was healthy, but obviously that's not going to be the case. So if this is not the year that the Lakers and the Clippers face each other in the playoffs, then they're probably never going to face each other in the playoffs. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Levi Jose, it'll be a heavyweight match if we go against the Clippers this postseason. I had a caller call in during the show and say that because of Andre Drummond, that's going to be the difference between the series. And the front court part of it is I think the difference between the Lakers and the Clippers. Winfred Nar on Facebook, and the best front court wins, rebounds equal rings. See what else we got here. Is it true that Trevor Lane broke your ankles? Is it on YouTube? Trevor crossed me over like I've never been crossed over before in my life. You know what I mean? He got me like leaning one way, and the next thing you know, bam, crossover, both ankles, everything. I collapsed to the ground, and he kind of turned back and looked at me and went up with his left hand. It was a really pretty play. And I had a really good perspective on it because I was on the ground. What the hell are you talking about? Trevor Lane crossed me over. All right, Little Italy, New Orleans, thank you for tuning in. Let's see what else we got here. How would the Jazz face the Clippers? Okay, I'm going to get into that in just a second. Quick reminder here. Thank you to Power Pro Plumbing, Heating, and Air. My bad, Lake fans. It's a live show. Sometimes you have to sneeze. It's been like 2 or 3 months since I sneezed. But you knew it was going to come. Eventually it was going to come. All right? My apologies there. My apologies, Lake fans. I had to sneeze. All right? Nothing I can do. This is why during these streams, people just say, bless you. Whether I sneeze or I don't sneeze, people just say, bless you. And this has become part of the theme of the show. All right? So every couple of months during the live stream, I got a sneeze that comes out. All right? So I appreciate the bless yous there. Let's keep going here, Lake fans. Let's keep going here. Thank you. All the bless yous. Gesundheit. I think that's how you say it. Okay. All right, let's keep going here. Let's keep going here. So the Clippers and the Utah Jazz, I think, would be an excellent series. This actually goes right into my next point. So playoff picture, okay? I actually like where the Lakers are sitting right now at this moment. If the NBA standings stayed exactly where they're at, I like where the Lakers are at. I don't, ideal is not the right word because ideal is you're the number one seed or you have home court in at least the first round, and the Lakers have not been given that luxury. I would take this path to the NBA Finals if the Lakers ended up right here in the 5th seed. So I saw that Clippers beat Portland, which in a weird way is good for the Lakers, believe it or not, even though I still was rooting for the Blazers just because I can't stand the Clippers. But because Portland lost, Lakers are 2.5 games behind or in front of the Portland Trailblazers. So if the playoffs started right now today, Lakers would have Denver in the first round. Denver would have home court. Look, Jokic probably will win MVP. That team is solid. They don't have Jamal Murray. You're not winning a championship or getting past the Lakers without Jamal Murray, period. Maybe you can put up a fight against Dallas or Portland or something along those lines. If Denver pulls the Lakers in the first round, it's like That's just bad luck. And the fact that obviously Jamal Murray is not there. So if Lakers got Denver in the first round and they avoided Clippers, Suns, and Utah, okay, I think I'll take it. Then they would have the Utah Jazz in the second round. And like I said about Utah, I've already kind of listed off my reasons here. Utah's a really, really, really nice team. I just don't think they have the star power to do it. I mentioned this to Michael a couple pre-games ago. First game that we were going to play on Saturday against the Jazz, he said, well, there's been teams that have won without star power, right? The Detroit Pistons beat the Lakers with less star power in that NBA Finals, 2005, 2004. The Dallas Mavericks beat the Miami Heat without that star power, without the equivalent star power. I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm saying more times than not, it does not happen. So can it happen? Absolutely, it can. I'll take my chances for the Lakers in a series against the Utah Jazz. Okay, what that means then, if Lakers got past the Denver Nuggets, the Utah Jazz, who would be waiting for them in the Western Conference Finals? It should be the Los Angeles Clippers. So that means Clippers would have to go through Portland and then go through Phoenix. Phoenix would have home court. I'd still give, the Clippers that edge in that series. And then it would be Lakers and the Clippers in the Western Conference Finals. That's how it should be, in my opinion. If the Utah Jazz think they're the best team in the Western Conference, well, they'll get the Lakers in the second round, and they're going to have to prove that. And if that doesn't happen and it's Lakers, Clippers in the Western Conference Finals, then finally these two teams would face, and that's what the playoff picture would look like. So that gives everybody just kind of a quick idea right there. If the playoffs started today, that's what it would look like. Okay. Read off a couple of these comments here. Jazz play Memphis and Lakers play Nuggets. Then we play Jazz on the other side. Suns play Mavs and Clippers, play Blazers, then Suns and Clippers meet Lakers versus Clippers. It could be the path. I mean, we thought that was going to be the case last year, and obviously the two teams didn't face each other, so we'll see what happens. Wow, Clippers are the hottest team in the NBA. They've won 9 of 10 games. Okay, is what it is. They're doing what they're doing. Miss Cherry Rancher, to be honest, I think Lakers will be 4th seed, not 5th. We'd still probably play Denver first round, though. Here's the thing. I actually don't know about that. The Lakers still are going to try to get everybody back. I don't think they're going to pay too close of attention to where they are in the standings. I will say if Lakers drop from 5th to 6th, you got Clippers in the first round. So it's a big difference of the kind of the road, the map that you would take. I'd like to play the Clippers later on. I don't want to play them in the first round. It doesn't feel like a first round matchup. It feels like they're two powerhouses that should be playing later on in the season rather that early. Someone says, stop reminding me of 2004. It is what it is. It happens. It happens. Let's see what else we got here. Best seed we can end up in your opinion, David Sabatini. I think 4 is probably the best that we can end up, but I don't see that happening. I really don't. I think 5 or 6 is probably much more realistic. Not too concerned about seeding. Just want them to be healthy come playoff time. Yes, I agree with that. Okay. All right. I got one more topic I want to get into before I give out some questions, and then we're going to get the hell out of here. How about our internet to start things off, huh? How solid was that? Internet was great. I don't know what was going on, Lake Fence. We couldn't do a show. Every comment was, hey, bro, do you have internet, or what are you doing? What are you doing? But, we recovered, Laker fans. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. It's how you finish. Sneeze right in the middle of the show. Right in the middle of the show. Just a sneeze. By the way, quick shout out, Power Pro Plumbing, Heating and Air. Went and grabbed some breakfast and some coffee with the owner on Friday. Is that Friday? What's today? On Friday. We appreciate their partnership on the stream. Pretty soon here, I'm going to have to get an entire air conditioning unit. Where do you think I'm going to go? Power Pro Plumbing, Heating and Air. Go to powerproplumbing.com. If you're local here in Southern California, any issues with plumbing, heating and air, let them help you. They are if you're a big fan of what we do on 710 ESPN, what I personally do on these streaming shows and everything else, and obviously the radio show, support our partners. We'd greatly appreciate it. All right. All right, here we go. Now I got somebody making fun of the internet. Sliwa internet runs off a calculator. Not sure what that means, but I feel like you're making fun of the internet. Don't come on my internet, bro. Okay, let's go back to this story. This topic came up yesterday, and I thought it was very interesting. Actually, I'm going to pop up the story here, so I'm going to kind of just read it off as I go. Vanessa Bryant, Kobe Bryant estate elect not to renew partnership with Nike. It's kind of a crazy story. I got to be honest, Laker fans. For those who have played basketball, pickup games, indoor court, outdoor court, high school, youth, you still play today at a 24-hour finish, whatever the case is. Kobe's, that is synonymous with basketball. It's the equivalent of when you say, I just got a pair of Jordans, or I just got Jordans, or you see somebody wearing a certain pair of shoes, and you say, oh, man, those Jordans are really nice. That's what happens when you play basketball. Kobe's. Everybody freaking wears Kobe's. So this one is kind of a crazy story to me, because when I say everybody wears Kobe's, you go to any gym or you go play anywhere, everybody is wearing Kobe's. I read this thing off. Let me read first kind of a background of the story here. Vanessa Bryant told ESPN this yesterday. Kobe's Nike contract expired on 4/13/21. Kobe and Nike have made some of the most beautiful basketball shoes of all time, worn and adored by fans and athletes in all sports across the globe. It seems fitting that more NBA players wear my husband's product than any other signature shoe. She went on to say, my hope will always be to allow Kobe's fans to get and wear his products, Vanessa Bryant said. I will continue to fight for that. Kobe's products sell out in seconds. That says everything. I was hoping to forge a lifelong partnership with Nike that reflects my husband's legacy. We will always do everything we can to honor Kobe and Gigi's legacies. That will never change. So, kind of a crazy story. Who would have thought and expected that Nike will not be making Kobe's, at least for now? Maybe something changes. I did see, later on in the story, during the NBA's bubble restart of the 2019-2020 season, 102 players wore a Kobe-branded sneaker, the most of any player's sneaker line in the league. So, I don't know about you guys, but if it's not Nike going to be making Kobe's, there has to be another shoe company or manufacturer or something that makes Kobe's. They're just too popular of a shoe. Everybody wears them. I love Kobe's. I mean, those were incredibly comfortable. You had the how do I describe this? Kind of had the security in the ankle, but they didn't have to be high tops. So Kobe's are obviously so incredibly popular that hopefully we get Kobe's back soon. And, I know THT had a comment on it yesterday in the post-game show. KCP had a comment on it. So I thought that was a random story yesterday that came out. We'll see what eventually happens and what they decide to do. Okay. Let's see what we got here, Laker fans. Somebody's saying I still wear AN1s. Okay, nothing wrong with that. You wear the AN1s where I remember I used to have AN1s, back in the day. They didn't even have shoelaces. They were just, you literally slipped them on. That's like, you want to ask your ankle to be broken, throw on some AN1s. That's what it was back in the day. Maybe things have changed. Kobe revolutionized the basketball shoe industry. By the way, comments, questions, anything, start putting them in right now. And we'll read off a few of these and then we'll call it a night. So if you got some things you want me to get into, start doing it right now. Do you think Phoenix will get the number 1 seed? With Um, Donovan Mitchell out for probably about a week or so. I think that's what they said. What are they? Game and a half back. They did lose a bad game recently, but then I think they came back and won. So they beat the Bucks yesterday. The Suns. They lost that game to the Spurs a couple nights ago. I think Utah hangs on. I think Utah will hang on to the number 1 seed. So if you're asking me, that's what I think will happen there. By the way, actually, I didn't even think about that. How great would that be? The Suns jump to number 1. Utah falls to number 2. Lakers stay at that 4 or 5. So you get Denver, then Phoenix, and let the Clippers and the Jazz go at it in that second round. That would be ideal. That would absolutely be ideal if that were to happen. What do you think of the Nets injury situation? I think anytime you got injuries to your star players, it's something to be concerned about. But I will say they're just going to freaking rest their guys. And all they have to do is just be healthy by the time the playoffs start. They don't even need anybody in the first round. I mean, they do. They need KD. Let's say KD's healthy and Kyrie's healthy, but they're giving Harden a little bit more time. That's all they're going to need. Just by the time you get into that second round, and let's say you got to face Boston or Milwaukee or Miami or one of those teams, that's when you got to be healthy for. What else we got here? Interesting. Somebody says, I work at Nike for 15 years. Many of us pissed at our leadership. Yeah, I'm telling you, that's an interesting one. It's just shocked at Kobe's. They're freaking Kobe's. And then, of course, everything else that comes into play, the just unfortunate circumstance that you would think that was not a story that was going to come out yesterday, but it did. So it is, nothing you can do about it. Somebody asking if I need a Kleenex. I'm all good, but I appreciate you asking very much. Thank you very much for that. Nets will have no chemistry. Not concerned about it, Laker fans. I'm really not. I think they'll be fine. I think they'll get through the Eastern Conference. So Melvin McGee, don't sleep on the Sixers. I get it. This is my only issue with the Sixers. I'll explain to you guys why. I think the Sixers are a year or two away. I think they will probably lose to Brooklyn this year if Brooklyn's healthy. And that's part of the kind of growing process for a young team. Like Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, they don't have all this championship experience. They don't have this long path of getting to the NBA Finals or the Eastern Conference Finals or something along those lines. I know they lost that series against the Toronto Raptors and Kawhi a couple years ago, but if Brooklyn's 100% healthy, I got Brooklyn. If there's any, issue there with the Brooklyn Nets, then it obviously opens up some opportunities for some of these other teams. All right, a couple more here, and then we're done. When is AD playing? So AD could come back as early as Thursday or at the latest, not at the latest. He'd come back as early as Thursday. If he doesn't come back Thursday, you'd expect him to play on Saturday. If he doesn't play in those 2 games, there's 2 more road games for the Lakers. Maybe he goes in one of those. Okay, final one here. I think final one, unless something good happens. Let's get an analysis of this Vivian catfish situation. Anonymous Andy, thank you for the question. I'm kind of the catfish expert. Like, people usually come to me, hey, Al, there's a situation, a predicament out there. We know you're all about the glitz, the glamour, and the entertainment. So let us know what's going on with the catfish situation. Here's the deal with Vivian. It's a catfish, Vivian, there's other stuff going on, put it all together, and I have no idea what it means, nor do I have any idea how this was a topic for the past 24 hours. How's this possible? 30 days away from the playoffs, talking about catfish? Hell's going on here, Laker fans. Hell is going on here. Okay, final one. Last one I got here. All right, let's see what we got here. some actually pretty good ones here. Um, okay, final one. Lakers got the Dallas Mavericks coming up on Thursday, and then Lakers got the Dallas Mavericks coming up on Saturday. Laker fans, you split these two games and you keep Dallas that 4-game separation or something along those lines. I don't think you lose out on that. I don't think you're going to be in the play-in tournament. Let's put it that way. The only way I think Lakers still have a chance to be in the play-in tournament is if they lose both of those games against the Dallas Mavericks. And if we get Anthony Davis back, I don't see that happening. So, Laker fans, that's all we got. Appreciate you guys tuning in. My apologies on earlier on the whole Wi-Fi internet situation, but we got it cleaned up. Thank you for being a part of the show. Tomorrow, Travis and Sliwa show, 7 to 9 p.m. You can hear that on 710 ESPN. You could start tuning in the morning. Keyshawn, J. Will, Zubin, and Travis, 5 a.m. is when that show starts. And then we will be back doing Lakers pregame show. Let's see, 6:30 tip-off, 5 p.m. pregame show coming up this Thursday. Laker fans, have a great rest of your night.